that I welcome Professor Hiroki Ueda from Tokyo University Medical School. A very warm welcome, Hiro. So Hiro is medically qualified, but has saw the light and just went into basic science and worked with pharma for many years. And is, as I said, not a professor in Tokyo. He's very well known for his pioneering work really on the molecular basis of sleep. We're going to hear a lot about that today, but as well also a lot about the future work. Very warm welcome. It's great that you made it up. I should say he's also in Oxford at the moment for 1 year. He's very much enjoying his stay in the UK. I'm sorry it's so cold in Edinburgh.
Oh, no,
but it's always like that. So a warm welcome. People online, please use the Q&A function rather than the chat function. We hope to talk for about 45 minutes, and then we can have a discussion afterwards. So Hiro, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Danny. So it's my great pleasure. So maybe I would like to come back in a warm environment in maybe May or So today it's a great pleasure to be here to share our, especially on the sleep mechanism, as well as a new initiative which will be, let's say, help in near future in Japan, which is about sleep checkup project. Okay, so I will touch upon this project in the last part of my talk. But so let me begin with the technical challenges we are facing in the human biology. So you now access to the many different type of individual genomes, as well as deep, information obtained in the hospitals, and then you can get a lot of correlations informations. But regarding causality, we have a problem. So that is why we'd like to use animal models. But which is usually. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So usually, so that is difficult because of the, to make a knockout mouse or knock-in mice.
It's okay. Trying to get rid of this.
Okay.
It's being. Oh no, that didn't work. Sorry, Zoom is being.
Right.
I to be meeting troubles.
Thank you. I'm to blame.
This one.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so usually causality, proving causality is a quite problem. So that is why we want to use an animal model, but it takes a long time. So we try to shorten this process by using the next generation genetics, meaning genetics without breeding or crossing. Okay, I will touch upon middle of my talk, and then also so we have to deal with the complexity. Because we are made of multicellular, systems. So now we have a catalog of the molecule, but we don't have a catalog of the cells. And how can we make it? So that's a question. So that is why I'm touching upon the whole organs or whole body profiling of every single cells. Okay, by using new technique called cubic. And then finally, so in human biology, especially human field biology, so we have to deal with the heterogeneity of the gene as well as the environment. So in that case, it's extremely important to have a real-world phenotyping. So that is why we develop the ACCEL method, which can allow us to measure the sleep-wake cycle phenotype in very accurate manners. Okay. So let me begin with the cubic, which might be interesting to you, especially you are working on the, let's say, brain. Okay, and then maybe which is also applicable to the other organs like plants. Okay, so by using tissue clearing technique, a couple of years ago, like 2014, we published 2 papers in Cells. And the first paper is focusing on the entire mouse brain or mouse brain clearing. and then try to look at the cell inside mice or marmoset brain. And then accidentally, this molecule, this drug can be used for the, I would say, entire mouse body accidentally, because we found that this molecule and small molecules are very potent to elude him from red blood cells. And then, and this is a state of the art, you know. And then regarding the mice brain, so we recently find out there are 100 billion cells. So literally, we can access to the every single cell information out of the entire brains. Actually, this is a little bit larger than entire UK population. So if you imagine, you know, so mouse brains have 0.5 gram. So you maybe you can imagine on the your pinky fingertips on the entire UK populations. And then regarding the entire body, so this is a newborn mouse. And then we recently succeeded to look at that every single cell, because this is the newborn mice, which turned out to be 428 million cells, which is slightly larger than the entire US population. Definitely smaller than entire Chinese population or Indian population, but that level, so we can analyze. So we agree. Okay. So just recently, so we applied this technique not to the anatomy, but to the kind of physiology of the second part. So this is a ACCEL classical C4 stain. But usually you have to cut down the slices to look at the SCN. But in this case, we don't cut down. So this is from the entire intact mice brain. And then you can see the nice second part, which is peaking around the daytime, which is an inactive period of the mice, and then repeated twice, which is how to say, exactly consistent with the pioneering work in SCN C4 expression. And then we extend this technique not only into the tiny piece of the mice, but also to the entire mice brain. And then we found more than 20% of the entire brain significantly oscillate at least 20%, okay, with a different phase. And then you can see the dawn brain region, and the morning brain region, and the afternoon, evening, early night, and late night brain region. So early night brain region is a little bit, how to say, small, but it's a very interesting part of the brain. Okay. And then if you look at it closely, so you can notice significant differences. For example, cortex. So cortical brain is quite active. End of the night, end of the active period, and then inactive, getting inactive during the day. I mean inactive period. So which is looks like how to say, slow wave activity of the mice brain. So which might represent a kind of tiredness or sleepiness of your brain. And then in contrast to the phase of the cortex, hippocampal region is anti-phase to the phase of the cortical brain. We don't know the meaning of this, but it's quite interesting. During the inactive period, hippocampal region will be active, and then during the active cortical region is active. So there might have a shift work within the mice brain, at least, to work together. So that kind of information now available. So maybe in the future, we will, how to say, open this data to the community, and then you can, how to say, ask what is the phase of your favorite region of the brain. Okay. And also this kind of technology, not only to the C4 expression, immediate early expression, but also to the entire capillary information. This is the CD31 antibody, which is CD31 is expressed in the blood vessel, including capillary. So now you can access entire brain blood vessel informations. Okay. And then if you're interested in this field, so I wrote two review papers. One is in Nature Review of Neuroscience, and the other one is Neuron, both in 2020. And then this is a kind of a good starting point for you if you're interested. And then also this kind of technology is applicable not only to the animal model, but also to the humans. Okay. So therefore, if you are interested in the to becoming the first ever invisible human, please let me know. I cannot guarantee you are still alive after this procedure, but I guarantee you will be very, very famous. Okay. So let me go back to the sleep story. So sleep is a quite interesting status of the brain, which is a kind of one of the fundamental status of the brain: sleep, non-REM sleep, REM sleep, and wake, which is associated with many CNS central nervous system diseases, including psychiatric diseases, and also neurodevelopmental or neurodegenerative disorder. Okay, and then so that is why I'm intrigued. I don't say this is a cause or causative, but I would say this is tightly associated with sleep, with these disorder. So that is why if you look at these fundamental brain status closely, you may get a new insight into the diagnosis or maybe treatment. So that is why I think it's quite important. And also in our field, sleep researcher try to ask very basic two questions. What is sleep for? What is the meaning of sleep? Or what is the significance of sleep? Or what is the function of sleep? Or how is sleep regulated? What is the mechanism of sleep? So usually first question is quite difficult to answer. So that is why let me focus on the second question first, and then let me touch upon the first question later. But you already have a lot of experience in sleep, and then you have an internal description, an internal status description by yourself. And I'm happy to discuss with you about what is the function of sleep, which is $1 million question. And then, so let me begin with what is the mechanism of sleep. So one of the most, and also unsolved, most interesting, but unsolved question is sleep homeostasis. Okay, name itself is quite fancy, but it's very simple. Okay, so if you cannot sleep well or during the night, next day you feel sleepy. That's it. Okay, but and then neural activity might be counted and then converted to sleepiness. Okay, what is interesting and important here is the time scale difference. So neural activity usually, kind of a millisecond to second scale, but sleepiness may last even hours and then sometimes days. Okay. So somehow your neural activity may be counted and then converted into the sleepiness, so-called sleepiness, within your brain or within probably in the neurons. Okay. But nobody knows what type of molecular or cellular system may be responsible to this interesting phenomena. Okay. And then there are many pioneering research, but let me introduce very important two researches. Okay. 1990s, Professor Hiroki tried to look at living cat, pyramidal neuron, excitatory neuron activity. And then during the wake, yeah, so you can see that point firing. During the sleep, excitatory neuron have a double oscillations. So oscillation made of action potential and the oscillation between the active phase and so-called up state and very decided so down state. And then interestingly, that oscillation, slow oscillation is characterized by 0.5 to 4, very slow in terms of the brain activity. And then this slow activity, oscillation, also evident in brain-wide model. So this is done by Alexander Baldwin in Zurich, and then he tried to analyze human data, 1981, and then try to find out the correlation between the sleepiness and then slow wave activity. Part of this frequency. And then if you awake, this slow wave activity getting increased, especially when you have sleep. Okay? And then further increase if you cannot sleep during the night, and then go back to normal if you have sufficient amount of sleep. So somehow macroscopic brain-wide activity and the slow dynamics are connected with the microscopic neural level and a very fast dynamics. So key is a slow wave oscillation. So that is why many researchers in our field try to model this phenomenon by using a large model, like a 1,000 neuron model or 10,000 neuron model, around 2000 to 2010. But at that time, computation power is limited, and also complexity of the model is large. So that is why prediction power is limited. So that is why we apply the famous physics technique called mean field approximation to reduce the complexity of the model, and in which we try to suppose the average neuron connecting with the other average neuron. So basically, it's single cell. Okay? And then we express many different channel tone in the average neuron in different expression levels, and then try to make 20 million different models. And they ask what type of model can generate a slow wave oscillation. And then we screen the more than 1,000 and then ask which type of neuron are important to generate this slow wave oscillation. Turn out to be 4 different channel tones seems to be important. I explain why these four channels are important. Okay, so during the up state, bursting state, so activated calcium channel, either voltage gated calcium channel or energy receptor, although the external calcium go into the cell, and the activated calcium stimulate the suppressor of the neural activity, so-called calcium-dependent potassium channel, allow the internal potassium channel go out. So positive ion go out, so that is why the concentration will increase, and then stop the fire. And then, so that is why calcium no longer go into the cell, but go out from the cell through the calcium pump. So that is why calcium suppression no longer working. So that is why membrane potential will be increased. And then you can see the bursting again. So that's the basic mechanism. Okay. So if this hypothesis is true, you can predict 2 things. So if you impair the input pathway of the calcium or entry calcium or execution pathway, you will expect more wave because calcium suppressor is difficult to work. Okay. On the other hand, if you impair the calcium exit pathway, calcium is easy to accumulate. So that is why you will expect more wave, more speed. Okay, that are 2 basic predictions. It seems to be easy because there are only 4 families, but it turned out to be very difficult because we have 29 genes in our genome. So to rigorously test this hypothesis, we need to make a knockout mice 1 by 1. And then we determined to make a knockout mice 1 by 1. But it's extremely hard if you use the traditional knockout technology. Because if you determine to use make a knockout mice for particular genes, you have to dedicate your time to the one strain, and then it usually takes 1 to 2 years. Right? And if you are lucky, and if you are a PhD student, and also if you are a postdoc, if you are lucky, you can get the market very beautiful, phenotype, and then you can get the PhD degree, and then you can get the PI position. But if you are not so lucky, I don't want to say sometimes it happens, but your PhD degree or PI position will be knocked out. So that's not good. So that's why we try to accelerate this process by bypassing the crossing. Because one of the limiting steps is breeding. Okay? So what if you can avoid the crossing, but just make a knockout mice, complete knockout, or knocking mice? within one generation. So in that case, you can bypass these highly long-term process. And we conceived these concepts around 2010 when we started the sleep-wake cycle research. It takes us 6 to 7 years by using triple CRISPR technique or ES mice technique, we can make a knockout mice or knockout mice within one generation. I don't touch upon the detail, but that works pretty well. And actually, and then after we made a knockout mice, next question is how to phenotype. So in that case, we try to avoid the surgery because one of the variability coming from the variability of the human population. So that is why we try to make a very automated manner to phenotype the mice. In other words, we try to use respiration information to and then convert it to the sleep-wake information by measuring the pressure caused by the inhale or exhale of the air in the mice. And then we made a chamber-wide cells, and then we designed the lab-fire cells, and then we are lucky enough to have a dedicated facility, otherwise and phenotype more than 1,000 mice per week. So by using this technique, we are lucky to find out first ever essential gene for REM sleep. So it started to be a double knockout. So muscarinic receptor 1 and 3 knockout together, REM sleep is totally gone. So muscarinic receptor, in other words, acetylcholine receptor seems to be very important for the other type of sleep, I mean REM sleep. Okay. And then by using this technique, let me go back to the non-REM sleep story. And then when we looked at 29 genes, some genes are lethal, some genes are not. And then we can phenotype non-lethal genes. Then we found calcium, voltage-gated calcium channel or NMDA receptor have a phenotype as expected. And also calcium-dependent potassium channel also have a more wake phenotype as expected. And then knockout mice of the calcium POM have a more sleep phenotype as expected. But calcium dynamics is so fast, which does not match with the slower dynamics, slow vagus oscillations or activity. So that is why we try to look at the downstream pathway of the calcium. And then we focus on the kinase, because I'm coming from the circadian field, and we already know that kinase have conferred the very slow dynamics. So by using this analogy, we try to look at the calcium-dependent kinase. And then one of the candidates was kinase 2 alpha family. And then we made a knockout mice for the kinase 2 as alpha, beta, gamma, delta. And then we found alpha, beta, which is kind of a most abundant protein in the brain, seems to have a very important role in sleep. Actually, which actually come kinase to act as a sleep promoting kinase. And then based on that, so we propose calcium dependent phosphorylation or modification might be very, very important to make you sleepy. And then 2016, we published a first paper describing first sleep promoting kinase. And a half years later, Scuba group also identified that SIKC as a second sleep promoting kinase. And then Lausanne group, American group, also identified the third sleep promoting kinase, which is turned to be a ERK MAP kinase family, ERK1 and 2. And then 2017 and 2018, Graham Darwin group and Jinpa Liu group published two papers, either in Science and Nature, to describe the phosphoproteomics of the brain. It seems to be correlated with the higher slow wave activity or longer sleep durations. And also Stephen Brown group and Charles Lowe group also published a paper in 2019, back-to-back paper in Science. They also find out within the synapses, there is a correlation between the phosphorylation status of the protein and slow wave activity or longer sleep durations. So far, there are many candidates in terms of the, let's say, real identity story activity. But in our case, companies do, because companies do act as an enzyme, but also act as a substrate of the for that enzyme. So in learning and memory context, companies are activated by calcium harmogene complex. And then it's also phosphorate itself as old phosphorylation. Okay? And they store the activation information in the proteins. And then activated kinase increase the kinase activity. So that is a well-known mechanism in learning and memory context, but not in the sleep. So that is why we try to, perform the unbiased screening. That's a lot of work, but so this is a kind of sample study. So when you overexpress constitutive active kinase, you can increase the sleep duration up to 1,000 minutes per day. And then if you inhibit the kinase in neurons, so we can also decrease the sleep duration down to 500 minutes per day. So you can almost double the sleep amount by just manipulating the single class of the kinase, like the kinase do. And then regarding the sleep qualities, we can also decrease the sleep wave activity more than 40%, and also increase sleep wave activity when you activate, which is not described here, but we can double the, by manipulating the kinase activity regarding the sleep quality. Yeah. And also interestingly, some kinase do have a multiple mode within the enzyme. So for example, sleep induction are mediated by first phosphorylation site, and the second phosphorylation site seems to be involved not in the sleep induction, but in the sleep maintenance. Okay, so let me explain about the differences between induction and maintenance. Okay, because it's a little bit difficult to understand if you are outside the field. Okay, so let's say if you have a long sleep duration, to achieve this, you have two ways. So one way is increasing the transition probability from wake to sleep. Okay, so you easily go asleep, get asleep. Okay. That's sleep inductions. The other way is other way is something like this. Once you have a sleep, you stay asleep, be asleep. That's the sleep maintenance. Okay. Transition probability from sleep to sleep are increased. So that's another. And then interestingly, first phosphorylation site involved in first induction. Second phosphorylation seems to be involved in the maintenance. And then we also find out other phosphorylation site, which is involved in cancellations. So in either induction and maintenance are abolished once the third site is phosphorylated. So at least there are three states within the one kinase. So it seems to have a cycle. Okay. And also, next question is where in the brain comparison is important. And we found at least cortical region seems to be important because we can increase the sleep, decrease the sleep, and also we can manipulate the slow wave activity, just expressing the kinase in the limited area of the cortex. So that is why we try to use the in vitro cortical primary neuron to investigate the mechanism of calcium as well as kinase too. So 2012, Mary Hapti group and also 2015, Jim Kruger group published two interesting data in which you just keep the primary neurons taken out of the embryo of the mice, and they keep them like 1 week to 2 weeks, and then they observe primary neurons show the slow wave oscillations, And then if you add a chemical cocktail, like composed of the 4 chemicals, including the dopamine and norepinephrine and the histamine and acetylcholine together, you can wake them up. So it's an interesting experiment. And many people doubted about it, including us at that time. But now we have evidence. Our compliance has a role in cortex. So why not in the future? Okay. So that is why Fumiya try to introduce this system, and then culture in the 6 well plane. And then each well contained 20,000 electrodes. Among 20,000 electrodes, you can record 1,000 electrodes per well simultaneously. And then you can see the kind of a spike. And then if you look at one cell, and then you can see the spike out of the 1,000 electrode together. And then you can distinguish wave-like firing patterns, like a desynchronized patterns, or sleep-like firing pattern, which is a synchronized patterns. Okay. And then we conducted already a lot of experiments by using this system, but let me only touch upon the calcium experiment. Okay. So if you deplete the calcium here, you can induce complete desynchronizations. And then if you add that calcium, 1 millimolar or maybe 2 millimolar, you can restore the beautiful calcium oscillation, which is interestingly stronger than original slow activity. Although absolute concentration is sometimes lower than original, meaning maybe relative differences of the calcium might be monitored in the cells. Okay. And then here's a quantification. So if you add the calcium and deplete the calcium here, and then add back calcium, and then you can see the total spike getting decreased because we can induce slower activity. So when you compare the average spike or total spike between wake state and non-REM sleep-like state, of course, non-REM sleep-like state seems to be inactive. Okay? It makes sense. Okay? So as indicated here, and then which is correlated with the delta power in the slow wave activity. Okay? But interestingly, when you look at the local frequency closely, we found maximum frequency of the just 100 millisecond over 100 milliseconds is much higher compared to the average, white wave or wave-like state. So locally, sleep state seems to be very, very active, which is a quite interesting point because sleep is usually regarded as a very inactive state. But when you look at the local, so it seems like a very active state. So I will touch upon this point when I talked about the functional sleep. Okay. So it's maybe, we still don't know how to say solid evidence. Maybe sleep might be regarded as a very active status. To have an inactive state, like a sleep state, you need to be active. So it's a counterintuitive, but there's something like that. So okay, so that's the in vitro optical rules. But how about the in vivo? So that is why we try to look at the load of the calcium in vivo. In that case, we try to use tissue clearing, and then ask, if calcium acts as accelerator of the neural activity, shutting off the calcium end up with the silence of the entire brain activity. Okay? But calcium acts as a suppressor of the entire brain activity, like our hypothesis. Shutting off the calcium might end up with a hyperexcitation of the brain. To test this hypothesis, we use a tissue clearing technique and then look at the immediate regime called ARC, which is visualized in the green here. And then without or with NMDA receptor inhibitor, I'm shutting off the calcium entry into the cell. So we found entire brain cortex hyperactivated. So including excited neuron, but also inhibitory neuron, which is not included this here yet. But the inhibitory neuron is also activated. And also these neurons also express NMDA receptor itself. So it seems to be direct effect. So that is why we thought calcium might have not only in vitro but also in vivo might have as a suppressor, indirect suppressor of the brain activity, probably inducing slow relaxations. Okay. And then calcium information might be integrated by famous kinase, so-called kinase 2. And then it has a kind of distinct status. One of the interesting status sleep cancellation. So once it's phosphorylated in particular site, it might be shut off, okay, which makes sense because sleep is a very dangerous status. You lose a consciousness, which is a vulnerable, dangerous if you have energy. Okay, so which might be tightly controlled. So and also if the phosphorylation may shut off the sleep, we might expect wake promoting kinase might be existing. And if so, sleep promoting phosphatase might exist. Okay. So I will touch upon these two additional mechanisms when I discuss about the functional sleep. Okay. So let me switch a gear to discuss about the functional sleep. Okay. So traditionally, sleep is regarded as an inactive state, which makes sense. Your body is inactive. Okay. Although there are many physiological unconscious processes also going on, but usually sleep is regarded as an inactive state. And then there are famous hypotheses, so-called shy hypothesis, in synaptic homeostasis hypothesis, which says during the wake, you learn something and then enlarge and increase, potentiate your synapses. During the sleep, potentiate synapses may be, shrink or depressed to avoid the saturations. That's what shy hypothesis said. But if sleep is actually active status, at least in locally, what happens? That's a question I'd like to ask. So I'd like to ask the theoretical. Okay. Let's begin with the mathematical model or computational model, which can recapitulate Helian rules, the famous Lamin rules, or STDP, spike time dependent potentiation. Both are usually believed to function in the cortex. Okay? And then ask what happens if you feed input the wake-like state or non-REM sleep-like state. What happens regarding the synaptic potentiation or depressions? What is found is quite intriguing because if you input the sleep-like state, we observe the synaptic potentiations. And then if you input the wake-like state, we observe the synaptic depression, which is completely opposite to that what Shai had said. Okay. So this happens because local maximum frequency is much higher than wake-like state. And then local firing maximum frequency matter regarding of this sophisticated molecular mechanism. So that's the reason why we observe the opposite. But it's very surprising to us, but it makes sense. Okay. So that is why we name this hypothesis wake inhibitions, sleep enhancement hypothesis, so-called WISE. I don't know it's wise to to call new hypothesis as wise, but I know, but it's at least it's easy to remember. Okay, maybe I might be end up to be called stupid, but let's see. But what is important here is if you believe Hebbian rule or STDP, you might end up with wise. Okay, so Darwin's way, let's say, vast majority of the synapses will be, let's say, depressed, and then Darwin's sleep, that depressed synapses will be restored. Okay, so you may argue, so you learn something Darwin's way. Of course, yes. But that synapses might be stimulated by the environment directly. So, but other vast majority of the synapses is not so. If you look at that, let's say, dynamics, average dynamics. So that's a kind of natural consequence of the learning mode. Okay. And then this says, so because so Shy predict the LTP, which is occurring driving away, may induce sleep. Okay, but Wise says LTD might involve or associate to induce the sleep, which is a complete opposite. Okay, so let's see the in vivo evidence. Okay, so let's see. LTP-induced sleep, cellular activity, or sleep-induced LTP. So first case, LTP2 sleep is predicted by Shy, and cellular activity to LTP is predicted by Wise. Okay. Let's see the in vivo evidence. Okay. So which is direct how to say, evidence is not available yet. But there is a correlation between the C-pulse activity, immediate early gene expression, and potentiated synapses, which is done by Adam Cole, which is not yet, let's say, published in the journal, but already put into the bioarchive. There is a strong correlation between C-pulse and potentiated synapses. And then recently, we had a entire brain diagnosis C-pulse data, and then try to look at the slow wave activity and C-pulse. And then we found C-pulse quite correlate with the delta power. So there is an inactive field, C-pulse expression going down. Delta slow wave activity going down, and then C-pulse, delta power is going up during the active field. Its peak at the end of the active period. It makes sense. You may accumulate sleepiness over the active period. Okay. And then C-pulse is something that C-pulse in the cortex is something like that. So it's going down during the active period, inactive period, going up during the active period. And then not only particular region, but also the vast majority of the cortex is behaving like that. So during the inactive period, C-pulse is going down and then going up during the active period. So at least there is a strong correlation between slow wave activity or sleep activity and also C-pulse. And then if so, and the C-pulse might be correlated with the LTP. So if these are, confirmed between two, slow wave activity are correlated, there are two possibilities. First, as Wise said, sleep may induce LTP, or as Shy said, LTP might activate sleep. Okay. There are correlations, so it's a very difficult to test the causality, and we don't have a causal information, direct causal information yet. But we have some interesting indirect result. For example, in conkinase 2 case, conkinase is a famous protein for the to induce LTP. It seems to support Shy But what we found is a little bit different. So second phosphorylation seems to be very important to induce cellular activity in our hand. And then this second phosphorylation seems to be involved in the excitatory, not the excitatory LTP, but the inhibitory synapses LTP, which is a little bit different. And the second information came from the very famous molecule called calcineurin, which is involved in LTP. Okay. So Shai said LTP induced sleep, and then Y said LTD induced might be involved in the induced sleep. And then we found LTD seems to be involved in promoting sleep, because when we knock out LTD molecule, calcineurin, we reduce sleep. And then if you translocalize the calcineurin to the excitatory synapses, we can induce sleep. But if we don't translocalize calcineurin anywhere, that's expressed, nothing happens. So translocalization to the excitatory phosphosynapses of the LTD-related molecule can induce sleep. Okay, so maybe I will skip this one, but the famous molecule which is involved in PK, LTP, which is PKA, can not induce sleep, but suppress sleep, as shown here, which is again support-wise, but against Shai. So far, we found there are another molecule, calcineurin, after the sleep-promoting phosphatase, and also another wake protein kinase called PKA. Okay. And then, so if I have, in the final 5 minutes, I will touch upon the human study. Okay. So today I only talk about the animal study, but I would like to extend these study to human. So which is related to today's seminar or to today's series. So first we try to collaborate with one of the biggest hospital, psychiatric hospital in Japan, in Hisen Psychiatric Hospital in Saga, in southern part of Japan. And then we started collaboration with Dr. Ueda and Matsuzaki. And then for that purpose, we try to simplify the PSC measurement by using the just acceleration obtained by the wearable watch. So because commercially available acceleration-based measurement have a good sensitivity but not good specificity, meaning to detect the intermittent wake is not good enough for the clinical use. So that is why we try to increase specificity from 50% to 80%, more than 80%, by simultaneously recording the acceleration and the PST, and then develop the machine learning algorithms to increase specificity. And then we apply this technique to UK biobank data by using the same devices. And here is the result. So we found some UK biobank individual have very long sleep, and some has a very short sleep, and then some has let's say shift work-like sleep patterns, and also some has a little bit non-24-like sleep patterns, which is a little bit difficult to judge just by 1 week's data, but it looks like so. And also there are different types of insomnia, like phenotype. We cannot detect the sleep onset because we cannot detect so far the bedtime, but we can detect the let's say longer duration of the intermittent rate. And also we found very interesting cluster here. So there are probably related to neurodegenerative disorder, but very fragmented sleep person are also detected. So based on that data, which is already obtained around 2020, so we try to propose to the Japanese Sleep Society about our idea to introduce sleep measurement into the Japanese healthcare system. So we Japanese have a mandatory annual health checkup. We take a blood, we take an ECG, we take other measurement of the body every year, which is supported by either by company or yourself, and which is written in the law in relating to the Japanese healthcare system. So not directly from the Japanese government, but it's already there is an economy or as an ecosystem in that preventive medicine in Japan. So that's why we propose, why don't we introduce sleep measurement into the existing health checkup health procedures, which is well received in at least Japanese Sleep Society. And then also we propose to Japanese government because Japan is a little bit notorious country for the short sleep. So, so that is why we feel sleep related problem is kind of a nation disease. So that is why it's well received. And then 2 years later, we also propose children sleep checkup because not only adults in Japan, but also children suffer from that short sleep. If the slow wave activity seems to be important to making synapses, it's a very, very critical for that age too, or even more critical in that age. And then last year, November, Japanese congressmen get together and they made a sleep focus composed of 22 congressmen. These focus become larger this April, and then we already have 33 congressmen. And then they are also feel the needs, and also as a politician, as well as a patient. So some of them are suffering from the sleep disorder. So that is why they have a strong motivations. But the politicians are quite busy. So that is why we thought it's inevitable, it's critical to have a kind of think tank with the like experts. So that is why we try to form the Japanese Sleep Association, made of not only sleep doctor, but also the doctor who is, or scholars who is involved in the public health. So, and then, and also children's and pediatricians, and also, how to say, industrial, how to say, medicine and public health. So kind of experts get together, made sleep associations, and then try to connect the politician, government, and also academics, and the society, and the industry. So which might, we just started this September, September 4th. And then we had a speech from the Mark, who is the EBRS president at the time. And also we had a speech from John Hopkins, who is the vice president of the SLBR now. Okay, and then we are applying this technique not only healthy individual, but also to the patient suffering from the schizophrenia. So here's a result, one of the results. One of the 4 major symptoms, negative, positive, manic, and depression, anxiety, phenotype. 3 of them can be related to the sleep characteristic. We still don't know, we have not yet succeeded to detect negative symptoms by just using the acceleration-based sleep measurement, but we'd like to achieve that goal and then use this measurement to evaluate the efficacy of the drug or development of the disease phenotype. Okay, so let me summarize. We found calcium seems to be, and then calcium are inevitable for your neural activity, which might be counted either by sleep promoting kinase or by sleep promoting phosphatase. At first, we thought maybe, phosphorylation might be driving force, but after we found the phosphatase and also opposing kinase, it might be other way around, or dual system. We still don't know yet, but there are two kinds for that integration. And then also we found wake promoting kinases. We have not yet identified wake promoting phosphatase, which opposing to the sleep promoting kinase. But now we gradually understand the participant of to the core sleep mechanism. And one of the participants, probably one of the main actor is kinase 2, and then gradually, reveal their internal status, which is made of 3 status. Okay, and also sleep. We still don't know sleep induced LTP or LTP induced sleep, but our current available data support slow wave activity may induce LTP. Yeah. Not that LTP induced, but the LTD induced slow wave activity. Okay, and then also in the process to tackle with mammalian or human, let's say, complicated, complex system like a sleep-wake cycle, we have to develop the next generation genetics or tissue, whole brain or whole organ profiling technique, or accurate measurement of the real-world phenotype. But these, method may be applicable not only to sleep-wake cycle, but also to the other diseases or other phenomena. So if you are interested in collaboration with us, yeah, please let me know. And then finally, I'd like to thank our collaborator regarding homeostasis and the sleep. And also, I'd like to thank you because you suppress a little bit sleepiness during my talk. Okay, so thank you for your attention.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So quite rare to get in the same talk, cutting edge science, and also cutting edge policy work at the very end, which I know is early, but that looked really exciting as well. I'm sure there are questions. I can open it up to the room first, and then we can take some online. Andrew?
Really interesting talk. Intrigued by the idea about long-term potentiation of inhibitory neuron.
Yes.
Do we know what the electrical effect of that would be in the brain if you could measure it?
Right. So first, we would like to start with the in vitro work, and then go into the in vivo. So there are Shy is a very predominant hypothesis, and some researcher pro-shy, and some researcher anti-shy, and then they are debating right now. And then which include not the electrophysiology, but the structural plasticity, and then try to look at the dynamics of it. But dynamics itself doesn't tell you which is causal. So that is why not only measuring the electrical activity, but also intervening and manipulation or alteration of the LTP or LTD in vivo, and then look at the consequence. That is critical. And then first, we thought different dynamics, but so when we go deep into this the issues, there is a strong correlation, and which cannot tell you which is first, like a chicken and egg problem. But our molecular evidence support not shy, but wise so far. but I agree, electrophysiology must have a critical role. Yes.
So here the molecular hypothesis
Yes.
that you're drawing on a huge body of work
Yes.
from the learning and memory
Yes.
field,
Mm.
which has explored those same molecules
Right.
in different neural
Right.
contexts. So I just want to sort of two questions, I suppose. Firstly, what would lead you to think that that is a good reference point
Oh, I see.
for understanding sleep? Of course, there's a lot of information there, but why is that the right area to go to?
I see.
The first question. And the second question is, what are the indications from GWAS studies or human genetics that suggests that these same molecules are implicated in sleep?
Yes. So I agree. If I have a capability to make a 25,000 genes knockout mice, we can do that definitely. Yeah, I promise. But we don't have such capability. So we have capability to make a knockout mice 100 different knockout mice per year, which is way below to cover the entire one. But currently, we are making, let's say, in vitro model, and then still we don't have a sleep-wake cycle. We can just induce sleep or wake-like state, which have a potential to extend our, let's say, screen up to, say, the generalized scale. So we are, going that point. So at least we are seeking for that directions. Yeah. So, but I would say electrophysiology is quite interesting, which can be relied on. So because unlike other, let's say, model, so electrophysiology usually have a more quantitative data, and then you might have a good reference point. So that is why we keep doing the measurement of the electrophysiology, and then looking at that, what type of channel seems to be important. So I didn't talk about the downstream pathway with these molecules, but unlike except the calcium related one, but we are now trying to cover the entire channel. So with that, maybe we can touch on the important downstream pathway in the slower solutions. But yes, we should do that. Yeah. And then regarding the human genetics, there are GWAS studies which indicate the cyclic AMP degradation enzyme might be involved in the sleep quality or sleep duration, which might be pointed out at PKA. We never tested it yet, but there is the information out there, and then we are planning to test that. Yes.
I think there are a few humans now described with PAM kinase missense mutations associated with intellectual disability and autism and so forth. I don't know if you're aware if they have particular sleep difficulties, very common in this sort of clinical.
Actually, so we have already have a collaboration with Japanese pediatrician who described some kind of mutations in the patient who suffer from the intellectual disabilities, and also in Netherlands. So we try to start a collaboration with Netherlands pediatricians who have a worldwide cohort made of 70 different patients with kinase mutations. And also they said, and both of them said, parents also suffer from the sleep problem of their children. So I think that there is a strong penetrance in the sleep difficulty. Of course, you have to distinguish the drug effect versus genetic effect. But once you have a large number, not large, but substantial number of the patient and also phenotype, maybe we can answer your question. And NMDA receptor mutation also exists. So we are start collaborating with these concept doctors. That's one of the goal to come over to Europe, not exactly Europe, but UK, which allow me to start a collaboration.
That could be worth following up on. An idea. Back when you're doing similar.
Colleagues doing similar stuff. I don't know, I mean, I know that colleagues doing similar stuff, know gene stuff. A lot of these genetic conditions associated with neurodevelopmental, so quite a lot of these things.
Right.
Yeah, really nice presentation, thank you. This phosphorylation hypothesis, do you think it extends to like local sleep during wakefulness in the brain as well? Do you think they underlies that as well?
Yeah, so it must be. So we are expecting. Although we don't have a direct evidence yet. But cortex seems to be the site for the interactions. So that is why. So we are we'd like to test that kind of hypothesis. For example, we can either concurrence 2, active concurrence 2, or calcium injecting the local site of the brain, and then ask whether or not they have a local cellular activity increase or not. So that kind of a yes, might be possible. Yeah.
So here, I learned a lot today, this morning, but one of the things that I'll remember is that Japan have an annual mandatory health check, which is incredible. And are those data available for research purposes?
So
That's pretty cheeky, by the way.
Yes. Actually, so it should be in the future at least. For example, such kind of data is previously collected by the industry, interestingly. So at that time, there was no electric database, and then one of the crazy guy, I like him a lot, try to collect the recept data, like as a post data of the hospital, and collect them, and ask every single hospital or let's say clinical group, and collect them, and then to make a database, and then now it's become $1 billion say company, right? And then after that, Japanese government try to mimic their business, and then reality is. And then they made a national database. But the reality is the industry-supported database is well spread and easy to use. So that is why there are pros and cons. Government funded database versus industry-funded database. But both can be used actually. And then private one is open to the academics for free. So that is why I think it's a either case, it should be publicly available, at least for the research purpose.
Yeah, it's really
And
and it's incredible that you've been able to persuade some high-level policy people to actually
because
take
they are
this.
suffering from so we are in the
In the UK, it's much more difficult to do that. It's much more difficult to persuade governments and policy. You know, it seems incredible you've made such progress.
So I have a follow-up question on that. So among your 33 Congress vote, apart from their own sleep and their condition, are there shared interests, or are they all interested in some industry or some sector which encourages them to join the caucus?
Yes. They have we have I think 4 different working groups within the association. So first one is, of course, adult sleep, I say, how can we implement the sleep measurement into the health checkup? But some are related to the shift work, like industry. So different industry have a different sleep wake patterns. And then sometimes it's inevitable, but we can sometimes optimize. So that is why such kind of a occupation specific, let's say, advice might be required. So that is why second working group is focusing on that part. And then, of course, if you focus on the only, let's say, working people, how to say, border is, I mean, many population are coming from the elder side, and then future is coming from the, let's say, younger side. So we have both, so elderly sleep working group as well as children's working group. So we have at least 4.
I think we'll conclude there, but thank you very much again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for getting it on. Everyone.
Online.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, last.
Yeah, sure.
So this is from online. So the work on sleep clustering and the biobank is very interesting. Is there currently a plan to extend it further to characterize the clusters, e.g. from brain structure and function or from mental health perspective?
Yes. So there are a couple of following up study we are working on now. So one is a lifestyle. So what kind of lifestyle is correlated with the sleep wake cycle? That is of course there are a lot of probably not probably, but there are very interesting pioneering work, but not with the accurate, more accurate sleep wake cycle. So that is why we like to ask what type of lifestyle is correlated with the sleep character. That is one. The other one is sleep and disease sleep landscape. So we only look at the sleep cell, but we'd like to look at what is the correlation at least between the occurrence of particular diseases. And also that is the second one. And then third one would be brain structure things. So we recently observed a long-term correlation between the sleep and also how to say cognitions performance, which cannot be explained by the temporal effect. So that is why so maybe structural difference might explain this kind of long-term consequence and correlation. So that is why we start looking at the structure. I think, and also Jiva study as well as these 4 things are actively on. Yes. Yeah. But so we have a capability to make a knockout mice more relatively easy. So that is why if you have a candidate which might be related to the sleep disorder or new psychiatric or neurodevelopmental or neurodegenerative disorder, then please contact. I'm happy to collaborate.
Fantastic, amazing.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks
Thank you so
much. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, good. I'll let you get your stuff. Yes. I'm going to nick off my back.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.